Ferguson braced for good tidings. After nearly 3 months waiting, people strained to hear the county prosecutor deliver the grand jury's decision. In the crowd, listening to Leslie McSpadden, the mother of 18-year-old Michael Brown.
No justice, no peace! No justice, no peace!
Many in the crowd hoped it might be possible the jury would send the white officer to trial.
Like, as much as I kind of knew what it would be, it's always a small piece like, no, they couldn't be this heartless. It couldn't be this unjust. It couldn't be. But it is. And it is a lesson learned. So now change comes.
But the loudest voices last night were not at all hopeful. They were furious. By the time Michael Brown's stepfather was exhorting the crowds to burn the place down, police, filing out of their station, knew what was coming.
Don't shoot! No peace!
There was a glimpse of peaceful protest, but it wasn't long before everything changed.
There's been a bit of a standoff down the street at the police station. But now they're going to flip a police car. Ben, look over. And there's a line of police just on the other side watching this. They're all in riot gear.
You need to exit the street immediately and stop throwing objects at law enforcement.
Suddenly, all the calls for calm from the president, even Michael Brown's family, forgotten.
Now they've started firing tear gas. You can see some flares being fired in order for the police to try and shuffle the protesters back. And there goes a tear gas canister right down the back of the street.
The epicenter of violence directly outside Ferguson Police Station, where Officer Darren Wilson once worked. It is his version of events, combined with the physical evidence, which seems to have persuaded the grand jury he didn't commit a crime, despite shooting an unarmed teenager 6 times. Photos released by prosecutors show minor bruising from the struggle, he says, which happened when Michael Brown lunged for his gun. He described the face of the teenager in the terms, "It was like a demon." The 6'2" police officer portrayed himself as a 5-year-old wrestling Hulk Hogan. Despite declaring a state of emergency a week ago and activating the National Guard, the authorities didn't stop bands of protesters roaming the suburbs, setting stores alight. There was gunfire too, one officer wounded in the arm.
A lot of gunfire. I'm disappointed in this evening. I really don't have any hesitation in telling you that I didn't see a lot of peaceful protest out there tonight, and I'm disappointed about that. I'm not saying there weren't folks out there that were out there for the right reason. I'm not saying that wasn't the case, but I am saying that unfortunately this spun out of control.
This was Little Caesars, the pizza joint. Across the road, looters helped themselves to the contents of the drugstore with no police in sight. Shop owner Sonny Diane was looted in the protest that directly followed Michael Brown's killing. He hoped this time it would be different.
We talked so much about it on the news and everybody was saying that the police are prepared and people are more reasoned, and this, I just didn't, just came out of nowhere.
America can see its own divisions reflected in the fires of Ferguson, between police and youth, rich and poor, black and white. The grand jury decision has only inflamed them.
Well, they're still cleaning up here in the streets of Ferguson, but if any indication were needed of the national significance of this decision, President Obama took the unusual step last night of giving a short televised statement calling for calm and for change.
We need to recognize that this is not just an issue for Ferguson, this is an issue for America. We have made enormous progress in race relations over the course of the past several decades. I have witnessed that in my own life, and to deny that progress, I think, is to deny America's capacity for change. But what is also true is that there are still problems, and communities of color aren't just making these problems up.
Now, there is an expectation that those grievances will again be displayed, acted out on the streets of Ferguson tonight. But in a more recent official comment, this time from the governor, Jay Nixon, he said there will be more police on the streets tonight and that violence of any type, whether it's shooting or arson or looting, will not be tolerated.